Humble beginnings in Brooklyn. Born on January 17, 1899, in Brooklyn, New York, Alphonse Gabriel Capone emerged as a figure destined for notoriety. The son of Italian immigrants, Gabriele and Teresa Capone, Alphonse grew up in the midst of hardworking parents, a barber father, and a seamstress mother who had crossed the Atlantic in pursuit of the American dream. Their home, nestled initially in the Navy Yard section of Brooklyn, witnessed the bustling energy of a growing family. Alphonse, known as Al, was the eldest of 9 children, among them James, Raphael, Salvatore, Ermina, Ermino, Albert, Matthew, and Mafalda. Little did they know that their destinies would intertwine with that of their ambitious brother. Despite a promising start in his education, Al's rebellious spirit clashed with the strict discipline of his Catholic school. Expelled at the tender age of 14 for a violent altercation with a teacher, his academic pursuits came to an abrupt end. Instead, the streets of Brooklyn became his classroom, where he navigated through odd jobs, from working in a candy store to bowling alleys, carving his path through the urban landscape. Entry into organized crime. It wasn't long before Al's ambitions led him down a darker path. Influenced by the notorious gangster Johnny Torrio, Alphonse found himself drawn into a world of organized crime, where rules were enforced by violence and loyalty was currency. Moved to Chicago. At the age of 19, Al took a leap into another realm of responsibility, marrying May Josephine Coughlin, a union blessed with the arrival of their son, Albert Francis Sonny Capone. Yet, even in his personal life, Al's shadow was cast by the darkness of his chosen path, as he navigated the complexities of marriage under the watchful eye of his criminal pursuits. Amidst the chaos of his criminal empire, Al Capone found solace in the arms of his beloved May, their bond standing as a testament to love amidst the storm. But little did they know, the tempest brewing in the streets of Brooklyn was only the beginning of Al Capone's tumultuous journey through the annals of American history. In the gritty streets of New York City, Al Capone's journey into infamy began with the Junior 40 Thieves and the Bowery Boys, leading him into the fold of the Brooklyn Rippers and eventually the notorious 5 Points Gang. Under the tutelage of fellow racketeer Frankie Yale, Capone's path took a violent turn when a confrontation left him marked for life, earning him the moniker Scarface. Fleeing the shadows of New York, Capone found new opportunities in Chicago. Lured by the beckoning call of crime boss James Big Jim Colosimo. Rising swiftly through the ranks, Capone's tenure in Chicago started humbly as a brothel bouncer, where whispers of his infamous disease began to circulate. Despite the opportunity for treatment, Capone's pride and negligence left his ailment untreated. As Chicago's underworld trembled under the specter of prohibition, Capone's influence surged. With Torrio at the helm, Capone became his trusted lieutenant, navigating the treacherous waters of territorial disputes and gang warfare. However, tensions reached a boiling point with the murder of Dean O'Banion, igniting a feud that would engulf the city in bloodshed. In the shadows of prohibition, Capone's empire flourished, forging alliances with Canadian bootleggers to smuggle liquor into the U.S. Yet, amidst the chaos and bloodshed, Capone remained enigmatic. His presence felt across borders, yet his true intentions shrouded in mystery. In the fiery underworld of Chicago, tensions simmered as a feud ignited between Al Capone and Joe Aiello, sparked by a power struggle within the Unione Siciliana. When Capone's consigliere, Antonio Lombardo, ascended to a position of power, Aiello, thwarted in his ambitions, seethed with resentment, accusing Capone of manipulation. With alliances forged in animosity, Aiello plotted vengeance, aligning himself with Capone's enemies, including Jack Zuta. Numerous attempts on Capone's life ensued, with schemes ranging from poisoning his soup to outright assassination plots. But Capone's intelligence network proved formidable, thwarting each attempt and retaliating with deadly force. As the feud escalated, hitmen hired by Aiello met their demise their efforts to collect on bounties ending in failure. Despite Aiello's persistent aggression, Capone's influence remained unyielding. Even when Aiello orchestrated machine gun ambushes, Capone's network of informants foiled the plans, leading to Aiello's eventual arrest. In the murky realm of Chicago politics, alliances with underworld figures became commonplace, blurring the lines between legality and corruption. Al Capone's influence extended beyond the streets, as he forged connections with politicians, shaping the landscape of City Hall through violence and graft. Capone's pivotal role in securing the mayoral victory of William Hale Thompson, a Republican candidate sympathetic to the interests of bootleggers, is well documented. Thompson's brazen disregard for prohibition aligned with Capone's agenda, leading to rumors of a substantial financial contribution from the notorious Gangster. The infamous Pineapple Primary of 1928 stands as a stark testament to Capone's influence on the political landscape. Targeting voting booths in opposition strongholds, Capone's henchmen unleashed terror, resulting in the deaths of numerous individuals. Despite accusations and arrests, Capone's grip on power remained steadfast, aided by a complicit law enforcement system. Furthermore, allegations linking Capone to high-profile murders underscored the depth of his influence and the extent of his criminal enterprise. As the tendrils of corruption reached into every corner of Chicago, Capone's reign of terror continued unabated, leaving a trail of bloodshed and betrayal in its wake. The infamous St. Valentine's Day Massacre of 1929 stands as one of the most chilling episodes in the annals of Chicago's underworld. While Al Capone was miles away in his Florida home, the massacre, orchestrated by his men, targeted Bugs Moran, the leader of the rival North Side Gang. Despite attempts to distance himself from the violence, Capone's reign of terror continued. Behind the scenes, efforts were made to combat the grip of gangsters on the city. Responding to the urgent call, federal agencies directed their efforts towards Capone and his cohorts. Plans for income tax prosecutions were set in motion, while a specialized squad of Prohibition Bureau agents, including Elliot Ness, were deployed to dismantle bootlegging operations. The trials that followed marked a turning point in Capone's reign of terror. From his arrest for contempt of court to convictions on vagrancy charges and perjury, the legal net tightened around Capone, culminating in his designation as the #1 public enemy by the Chicago Crime Commission. The downfall of Al Capone came not from his violent exploits, but from the meticulous scrutiny of his finances. Assistant Attorney General Mabel Walker Willebrandt pioneered the tactic of targeting wealthy criminals for tax evasion, leveraging their extravagant lifestyles against them. In a landmark ruling in 1927, the Supreme Court affirmed the legality of this approach, setting the stage for Capone's eventual conviction. Despite attempts to strike a plea bargain, Capone's efforts were thwarted by Judge James Herbert Wilkerson. Convicted on multiple counts of income tax evasion, Capone was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison, marking the end of his reign of terror. Despite subsequent legal maneuvers, Capone's fate was sealed. Following Capone's imprisonment, the landscape of organized crime in Chicago underwent a transformation. While his conviction marked the end of his reign as boss, it did not spell the demise of the outfit. With the repeal of Prohibition, organized crime in Chicago shifted its focus to more discreet and lucrative ventures. Capone's declining health led to his release from prison in 1939, and he spent his final years at his Palm Island mansion in Florida. On January 21, 1947, Capone suffered a stroke, followed by bronchopneumonia, and ultimately a fatal cardiac arrest on January 25th, surrounded by his family. He was laid to rest in a private funeral, marking the end of an infamous era in American crime history. If you are interested to watch more video like this, then subscribe my channel.